One after another, the expressions of the customers reveal indescribable pleasure. Is Su Yang's massage really that miraculous? Su Yang opened the door, and his fifth customer staggered out of the room with a dazed expression, seemingly drunk from alcohol. When the girls outside saw her condition, they forcefully swallowed their saliva in shock. This is already the fifth one. Could his technique really be that good? Just looking at the expression on their faces when they come out makes my body heat up for some reason. Who's next? Hurry up, we don't have all day here. Some girls were getting impatient from waiting. Just seeing the blissful expression on those who received Su Yang's massage was enough to make their hearts itch, wishing that it would be their turn already. As for those who had already experienced Su Yang's techniques, some stayed inside the house sitting on the chairs prepared for them, as they are unable to walk, while others were forced to stop and answer questions. How did it feel? It was otherworldly. It felt as though I was drifting along the stars in the starry sky. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was it? Scale. How could I possibly put a scale on it? It was so good I couldn't comprehend it. The place quickly became chaotic. Soon, every person there was itching to experience Su Yang's technique. An hour quickly passed. Su Yang has treated more than 10 customers at this point. However, the line outside his house did not shorten. Instead, it has actually gotten longer than before. Su Yang lifted an eyebrow at the queue outside his house. There was at least another 30 people standing outside. Where did these girls come from? He was positive that he didn't bring them here from the training ground. The only answer he could think of was that these girls came here after learning of this place from his previous customers. I need to do some adjustments. Su Yang halted his service for a few minutes to put up a sign right outside his house. The sign hung above the door to his house, and it read, Su Yang's massage, the only and true path to heaven. 10 premium points for service. After looking at the sign with satisfaction, Su Yang went back to his room to resume service. 24 hours had passed since Su Yang hung the sign outside his house. Yet the queue outside his house remained. Ever since the 9 sisters from the medicine hall experienced Su Yang's techniques, they began spreading his name like wildfire throughout the outer court. The people were suspicious at first, but when more and more people began spreading the same words, it became easier for others to believe in Su Yang's services. Some people approached Su Yang for his service out of curiosity, and others went for genuine pleasure, and sure enough, every single figure that went into Su Yang's room came out looking anew, as though they have been reborn. And for the next 2 days, Su Yang accepted all sorts of beauty into his room with a welcoming smile with very little rest. Graceful ladies with slim waists and round butts, enchanting women with mature bodies and large breasts, even immature girls that are yet considered adults, they all approached Su Yang to experience his techniques. At one point, his name reached even a few inner court disciples. Very quickly, the outside of Su Yang's house became lively with dozens of customers, laughing and joking with each other as they queued up, each talking about their expectations. It looked like the gathering of flowers, making the place look more like a marketplace rather than someone's living quarter. By the 4th day, almost everybody within the outer court has heard of Su Yang and his divine techniques, whether they like it or not. From the animals to the sect elders, they would hear the disciples talk about their experiences with Su Yang whenever they go anywhere outside. Su Yang, that mentally ill outer court disciple. Why is everyone and their mother talking about him as of lately? The unusual situation within the outer court caused the sect elders to pay more attention to Su Yang. However, the more they talked about him, the more puzzling the situation became. How could someone like Su Yang, who was infamous and disliked by many, become so popular within the sect almost out of nowhere? He has nearly all the female disciples talking about him. As for those who have yet to experience his techniques, they will sooner or later talk about him too. My disciples also talked about him non-stop the other day. They were all giggling like little kids who had just returned from an amusement park. Your disciples, too. My only disciple has been staring at the clouds all day while sighing his name ever since she went to his house 2 days ago. The partners of my disciples have been complaining to me about how they are unable to satisfy the girls with their techniques anymore. Quite a few male disciples have tried to cause trouble at Su Yang's place, but they all ended up getting forced away before they could even reach his doorstep. This is becoming quite problematic. What should we do? Stop his little business? I don't think that would be a good idea. There will definitely be a riot if his business is forced to shut down. Yeah, then what should we do? The elders felt infuriated at the situation, but they were truly at loss and did not know how to deal with it. Should we go to the matriarch for a solution? No, we don't need to bother the matriarch over something like this. Not yet. We should wait a bit longer and see how this plays out. After some time, the elders finally came to a conclusion. Very well, we will sit back and only watch for now. However, if it gets out of hand, then we will have to intervene. Inside his room, Su-young glanced at the jade slip in his hands. 5,514 premium points after 4 long days. At this rate, I will die from exhaustion before getting my hands on the pure young pill. His arms prickled with pain from soreness, and his fingers were numb. Although he has worked for far longer without rest before, his current mortal body could not withstand the burden of him constantly utilizing his techniques. Su-young looked outside the window, and there were at least 50 people still in line. After pondering for some time, he decided to go outside to announce a few changes. Due to too high demand, I have decided to change the price from 10 premium points to 100 premium points. Additionally, I will only accept a limit of 25 people per day starting tomorrow. The sudden changes caused many to frown. We have waited out here for over an hour, and you want to suddenly change the price? That's unreasonable. Right, I don't even have 100 premium points. Even if I do, I wouldn't waste it on some massage, no matter how good it may feel. The line quickly shortened with people leaving left and right. Suddenly, someone asked, Su-young, since you upped the price, will your service also increase? Su-young calmly nodded and said, naturally, the time will be increased from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, and I will also guarantee you that your yin qi will see an increase in quality after the service. What? Our yin qi will see an increase in quality? How is that possible? The disciples did not believe him. After all, only valuable pills and precious treasures are capable of increasing one's yin or yang qi. If there really exists a technique in this world that could increase the yin or yang qi within one's body, then that person with the technique will definitely be treated like a god. Whether it is possible or not, you will know after my service, said Su-young with a nonchalant expression, and he continued, I apologize for the inconveniences, but I am done for today. Come back tomorrow morning if you want my service. He retrieved the sign and closed the doors, leaving no room for discussion. Many people stood outside his house with a dumbfounded expression. Although they understood that he needed rest, after working for so many days without closing once, they still felt anger in their hearts. This Su-young is really shameless and arrogant. Just because he's good with his hands, he thinks that he can do whatever he wants, even being rude to his customers. HMPH. I have wasted my time here, and I will not be coming back. Me, too. Let's go. Many stomped away in anger, and others sighed. Very quickly, Su-yang's house became desolate and silent. However, barely any changes occurred to Su-young himself, and he went back inside to get some rest, as his days will only get tougher from this point forth. News of Su-young changing the price for his service from 10 premium points to 100 premium points, including how he will only see at most 25 customers per day, quickly spread. Many people were not happy about the changes, especially those who didn't get the chance to enjoy his service before when it was cheap and affordable, or those who decided to wait until later. However, as for those who have already experienced his technique, they would gladly pay 100 premium points to feel it again. Sadly, they were all forbidden to return for another month. As for the news about Su-young being able to increase one's yin qi, it was quickly disregarded as something ridiculous and absurd, so nobody bothered to speak of it. The following day, after the changes made to his service, the usually long queue outside Su-yang's living quarter was nowhere to be seen. Su-young was well aware that business would slow down if he increased the price. However, he did not mind, and continued to wait patiently. When the sunset arrived, a figure could be seen approaching Su Yang's living quarters. With beautiful black hair extended to her waist, she was tall and beautiful, and her alluring, well-developed figure left behind a trail of herbal fragrance. Su Yang opened the door and greeted the visitor with a smile. "Greetings, Elder Lan." The one who arrived was Elder Lan, who seemed to be in a bad mood. "After all the effort I put into spreading praises about your service, you had to just go and destroy it. What are you scheming now?" Although she was surprised about the changes, Elder Lan did not believe that Su Yang did it with the intention of destroying his hard-earned reputation. "If you are tired, then you could just limit the number of customers you see each day. But what need was there to increase the price by tenfolds? Don't tell me you are blinded by greed. I'll tell you this right now, but there aren't many outer court disciples who can afford to spend 100 premium points on 30 minutes of pleasure, no matter how good it may feel." Su Yang chucked at her words and said, "Elder Lan, if someone can increase the quality of your yin qi, how much would you be willing to pay that person?" What? Elder Lan didn't understand why he asked her that question, but the answer was obvious. One profound yin pill of the lowest quality already costs 3,000 premium points, yet I am willing to do what the profound yin pill does by increasing one's yin qi for as little as 100 premium points. Now if that isn't a bargain, then I don't know what is. "What? You can increase one's yin qi?" Elder Lan was shocked. How come she hadn't heard anything like that prior to coming here? Su Yang nodded, confirming her doubt. "Yin and yang qi works similar to one's body. If you can make it feel good, then it will obviously work better." Elder Lan found his reasoning to be a bit absurd, but she didn't say anything. "And how are you going to increase their yin qi quality?" "With my hands, of course." Elder Lan rubbed her temples, seemingly stressed. "Su Yang, you are a bigger idiot than I thought." "I'm an idiot?" Su Yang looked dumbfounded by her words. "If you can really increase the quality of someone's yin qi, do you realize the danger you are in? If it is known by the sect, then you can forget about seeing the sunlight ever again. But good for you, now you get to touch girls every day until you die." Elder Lan expected despair to appear in Su Yang's eyes, but to her surprise, he was actually smiling. "Why are you smiling? Does it look like I am joking with you? The fact that you are not trying to detain me at this moment is making me smile." Su Yang's words dumbfounded Elder Lan, who blushed slightly afterward. "Although it does sound very enticing to see you behind bars, I am not the type to treat my own disciples as though they are tools," said Elder Lan, her expression emitting an air of melancholy. Elder Lan's melancholy expression caused images to flash through Su Yang's head. "As I thought, they are really similar," he sighed inwardly. "Su Yang, I have been wondering, what is the purpose of all this? Why are you doing what you are doing?" Elder Lan has been pondering why Su Yang decided to reveal to the sect his heaven-defying hand techniques ever since the day she approached him. From her knowledge and what people say about him, Su Yang was a timid and spineless man who has mental issues and would never do something as bold and as eye-catching as opening up a massage parlor within the outer court. But no matter how hard or long she pondered, she just couldn't wrap her head around Su Yang's schemes. "Why I am doing this? That's simple." Su Yang didn't even need to think twice before answering. 1. I need premium points to obtain resources to further my cultivation base. And 2. I wish to repair my tarnished reputation. "What?" Elder Lan's expression froze for a moment as she tried to comprehend his words. "You are doing all this just for some premium points. What are you trying to buy that requires this much resource?" "The pure young flower," Su Yang told her without hiding anything, as there wasn't any need to hide anything. "The pure young flower? Why do you need something like that? Even if you manage to obtain one, how will you use it? Your cultivation base is far too inferior to even think about using it to increase your yang qi." Elder Lan didn't expect Su Yang to be aiming for something as powerful and chaotic as the pure young flower, also known as the red devil flower. Forget about an expert at the true spirit realm such as Elder Lan herself. Even Earth spirit realm experts would have trouble consuming the pure young flower without putting themselves in immediate danger. even directly exploding to death if handled improperly. Naturally, I have my own ways to deal with the pure young flower. However, that requires me to obtain it first. Elder Lan narrowed her eyes at him. He has his own ways to deal with the pure young flower. Just how many more secrets does this guy have? HMPH. If you are going to commit suicide, then at least wait until I am fully healed. Elder Lan coldly snorted. Anyway, I will be back in 2 days for the treatment. Su Yang smiled calmly and said to her as she walked away, I will increase the intensity for our next meeting, so until then prepare yourself. Elder Lan nearly stumbled upon hearing Su Yang's tease. Memories she wanted to forget resurfaced, and her face reddened. Her steps hastened, and her figure quickly disappeared from Su Yang's sight.